This coffee machine is trying to be the smartest, cheapest kid on the block with pressure profiling, temperature control, all the functionalities, super quick heat up time, everything you'd ever want in a machine, a built-in grinder as well. But is it worth it? Well, let's check it out. G'day mate, Ride here, your coffee coach. I want to share with you today my findings on the new machine that's about to hit Kickstarter in a couple of weeks called Maxim's Decent Espresso machine. I'm probably butchering the name because the French river that runs through Paris is what this coffee machine's named after. And Maxim's is a restaurant in Paris. So it's an interesting thing that a restaurant, fancy, super ritzy restaurant, is now coming out with an espresso machine. I was very shocked when they wrote to me to ask me if I wanted to review it, get my hands on one. I thought, yeah, I will. But it's such a weird thing to be a restaurant that serves caviar and has the glamour, and Pierre Cardin was used to frequent there all the time since the 60s. It's weird that they are bringing out an espresso machine. However, I found out this is not their first espresso machine. It's not their first home appliance. So maybe I'm wrong. It maybe is the new wave, and maybe Grounds of Origin should bring out its own espresso machine too someday. Probably not. It seems like everyone is getting into espresso machines now. We've had Turin, which is a grinder, predominantly grinder manufacturer. They've brought out a machine, Legato, about a year ago, and they're about to release their second machine as well. We've seen Meraki, we've seen Hybrid, we've seen a whole bunch of these manufacturers from China coming out. And this machine is from China too. However, the product design and the technology design has been done from Paris. They're just manufacturing it in China. So who knows about the quality of this product? From the outset, it looks a little bit plasticky, maybe really solid. Once I get my hands on it, I can tell you for sure. But the tech involved in this, what they're doing with this, that's what really excites me, because they are just diving into something that's competing with the Decent, or at least trying to compete with the Decent Espresso machine. But giving all of that, I'm at a much lower price. Anyway, let's take a look at this machine and see what it looks like. And you can back the Kickstarter campaign down below. I've got no affiliation with them. And when I get the machine for you, I can do a deep review, deep hands dive. But let's take a look at this. You might be interested in backing this Kickstarter. So firstly, it's an all-in-one machine, which I have to say I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't like having your grinder built into your machine. One, it's redundancy. When one goes, then the other basically is useless. And two, you're heating your coffee beans up. So if you're leaving them in the hopper and then you're heating up your machine, heat is going to transfer into there. It's going to heat up your bean, and they're going to sweat oils worse than Mr. Olympia from 2006, that's for sure. And the other part is that the coffee fines, that's just dust particles that just happen. You cannot contain them inside the grinder. So they're going to go into the rest of the machine, and they could potentially cause problems for you down the track. It's just, my preference is always to keep it separate. However, looking at the grinder looks really great. It does dose by weight, which I'm seeing a lot more. It's in the Meraki espresso machine. And that's going to help a lot of newbie baristas just understand about recipes for espresso to get that perfect tasting coffee. So grinding by weight, it has 70 steps on its grinder, which is a good amount. It's not stepless, but that's a lot more steps on it than, say, your DeLonghi Specialista, which, I don't know, has 8. It's ridiculous. And also even your Breville Smart Grinder Pro. 70 is going to give you a lot, but the range might be more than just espresso. So you might only have 30 dedicated to espresso and the rest are covering your other grind sizes. But at least it's something to get you started with as well. It has 8 variable levels of grind speed, which is their way of saying variable RPM. And there's not a lot of data on how much it affects the flavor of your coffee, having grinding at different speeds, but it's something there, and it's something that at least they've thought about and they've put it into this machine. It also has 3 dose options, which if you want to do a single or double, maybe you want to do a different coffee as well. So, that's something else. The machine itself has a super fast heat up time, 2.5 minutes, which is super quick. The water tank seems very small. It's 240 ml, which feels like that's going to be having to be filled up a lot. That might get you 4 or 5 coffees, especially if you're doing milk coffees as well. So that seems a little bit on the low side. However, 2.5 minute speed up time is great. You just put it on, chuck in the water, and then make your shots there as well. It also has dual Olka vibration pumps, which Olka are very reliable, and having them too means that you're going to get lots of power. The pressure of the steam can go up to 5 bars, which is more than enough to pump out your coffee. But what really excites me about this machine is the fact that they've included a whole bunch of tech to adjust all these variables, from the temperature to the pressure, the flow rate, the weight, and the time. And you can set any of those to be the parameters that you're looking for. So you can play around with doing a long extraction or short extraction, or a temperature that goes up and down. This is very similar. It's exactly what we see in the Decent. I'm not sure if the technology is close to the Decent at all. I would say it's probably not, but at least it's giving you more ways to manipulate your espresso, to play around with, to experiment, to really understand extraction. I think that's pretty cool. Now, if you're a newbie, and this looks like it's tailored towards newer baristas than your advanced baristas, but maybe I'm wrong. If you're a newbie, don't be worried, because it is very simple to just switch it over to a preset, 9 bar, just click it on, go with it. Don't even have to worry about it. You can save all those settings as well and just press a button. Someone else can just make the same coffee. So it has all of that. So whether you're a newbie or a super experienced one, you're going to be able to use this machine for what your purpose is. And one other thing, it claims it can do drip coffee as well, because it has multiple stages. Have it as a low pressure, have a pause, have another low pressure, have a pause. So you can do your drip coffee throughout 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure what the length of it is. There's a lot to learn about this machine, and all of those extractions can be saved, downloaded, and then shared all around the world, which is great. We've seen this already with Decent, with San Remo. They're building communities, and that's so important for baristas, because it's no good you making your own mind up and of how an extraction will be, or looking at the data and going, I don't understand that. You're off in a silo somewhere. Having the community, having the brains trust of every other barista around the world who has this same machine, and being able to ask them questions, share data with them, receive data, and just share information is fantastic. And that I really love, because you have to have a community to help you understand. We don't know enough about espresso yet to really be able to go, this is definitively the way you make it. So we're still in the experimentation phase. This machine gives you that ability, but what use is that without being able to share it and get feedback and understand it from other people's perspectives? So congratulations on making this a community-based machine as well. I forgot to mention that in the steam one, it has a temperature probe, so it can actually steam your milk based on the time or the temperature that you want to achieve. So that helps a lot. I'm not sure how great the steam itself is, or how dry it is, but it seems like it could be really reliable and dry, and just helping you get that extra silky milk. The one thing that kind of I'm not 100% sure on is the look. It's really quite bulky machine, and this is just a personal preference. I prefer them really like slim, low profile, slim design. Well, I have to see it in person to be able to really make up my mind about that, and maybe I'll be convinced that this is a really fantastic machine. But just as it stands, it looks quite big and oppressive, and I'm not 100% convinced that I love that design. Okay, so how much will this cost, you ask? Well, that is the question of the hour, because the answer is I don't know. There's no indication yet. The Kickstarter hasn't launched yet, so there's no indication of what it will be retail or what it will be at the Kickstarter launch. But based on the previous espresso machine that they've brought out, which sits, I think, around the $1,500 US, this might be around the $2,500 US, I'm thinking. I don't expect it to be too expensive. It looks a bit plasticky in parts and bulky in other parts, and it's a brand new machine, so they just can't come in and start dominating the price market. They have to enter in and slowly ramp up. $2,500 US might be about right. I'll update it in the description below what the price is for you when they launch the Kickstarter, and I can let you know exactly what it's going to cost you. Anyway, there's plenty more coffee machines coming out, but I just thought that you guys might be very interested in understanding what's on the horizon. And this is a very interesting machine. I haven't seen anything quite like this at this end of the market, so I'm excited to see what it is. Obviously, stay tuned for a follow-up full deep dive review in this machine once I get it and get my hands dirty with it. I can't wait to share it with you. Anyway, Hope you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment below if you disagree or whether you agree that this machine will be a real game changer for this end of the market. I'm Ryan, your coffee coach, and as always, enjoy your brew.